I try to separate weight loss from fitness and exercise. They are different things. So, for example, I can lose weight and never exercise. Also, I can exercise and never lose weight, which happens to people all the time, right? So they are different things. They should be viewed independent of each other. Now, they do work together, right? They are a team effort.
Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate OTG Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since third grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Sean. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
Today's topic is super important to me. It really hits home because my life completely changed. That's been about 12 or 13 years ago now when I realized that weight loss, healthy living, real lifestyle changes don't have to be super complicated. I call that the diet myth. The myth is that it has to be complicated to be successful. And that's just not true. 12, 13 years ago, when I first lost weight, I lost almost 100 pounds. I was about 20 years old. I had no idea what to do. I didn't know about macros. I didn't know what carbs were. I didn't know what calories were, macronutrients, calories, all this stuff. I didn't know any of that. All I knew is that I was tired of kids calling me fat and I wanted to feel better, right? And I knew that when I ate better, I felt better. And actually, when I was like 19, 18, probably, I was 17, 18, I guess, when this started. Every time I would eat something really bad, like I would eat fast food, pizza, fried chicken. And let me just say too, like if you didn't know me when I was a teenager, like in high school, I had a miserable diet. The SAD, Standard American Diet. If you ever heard that acronym before, SAD, SAD. That was me. I grew up on TV dinners and fast food. That was my childhood. Lots of Little Debbie's, lots of Rice Krispie treats, the standard kid stuff. And even looking back, I went to the doctor and stuff when I was like 17, 18 years old. They never really figured out what was going on. I just knew that when I ate bad, I felt bad. I had this real severe stomach pain. And all I had to do was stop eating that stuff and I felt better, right? And so I will admit that it makes it a lot easier to make healthy choices when making, a quote unquote bad choice, caused me pain, right? So it made it a lot easier. I will admit that for sure. But the point is that I didn't do anything special. All I did was eat less and ate healthy whole foods, and not even healthy whole foods all of the time. I got my calories under control. And that is the most important thing if you want to lose weight. And I think it's important to realize that the same is true from the fitness side. I try to separate weight loss from, fitness and exercise. They are different things. So for example, I can lose weight and never exercise, which is like kind of the story that I'm telling you right now. Also, I can exercise and never lose weight, which happens to people all the time, right? So they are different things. They should be separated. They should be viewed independent of each other. Now, they do work together, right? They are a team effort. And I'd say for 99% of people to get to the goals that you probably have, you need to do both. Um, because losing weight is part of it. But then exercising, getting stronger, building muscle mass, having strong bones, and moving well, that's a different thing. But for sure, we want to do both to feel good, look good, be great, right? Um, and neither of them have to be complicated. I lost the weight over about an 8 to 12 month period. And then I went from the fat kid, or was like Fat Phil was my nickname. And then next thing you know, people are telling me that I looked unhealthy because I was so skinny. Like, well, first of all, make up your mind. Like, which is it? Am I too fat? Am I too skinny? Figure it out, right? Which one is it? But either way, that started getting me motivated to work out. I was like, oh, maybe I should try going to the gym, right? Building some muscle. And then, about a year or two of doing that, I kind of started to put the pieces of the puzzle together that, man, it really is both of these things that get people where they want to go. And even during that first year or two of, going to the gym and exercising regularly, again, I had no clue what I was doing. I remember getting a plan from a friend of mine that later on in my life started asking me for help. So, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that person didn't know much either, but I did it. I just did something. It doesn't have to be complicated. Now, do I wish at that time that I would have maybe hired a professional like a trainer to help me out? Yes, 100%, because my results would have been faster. But the point is, I did something. I didn't overcomplicate it. Just go in there, get it done, keep it simple. We have plenty of other um, uh, information on this channel and other podcasts that we've done that can help you put that plan together. But the point is, just do something, right? And you will start moving in the right direction. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very simple. It is a myth that it has to be complicated to work, right? And complicated diets often fail because they're complicated. They require a ton of thought, require a ton of time that you and I probably don't have, right? And it feels impossible. Maybe you can do it for a week or two and you feel good, but then something happens. I got to stay late at work, got to pick the kids up, got to do this XYZ thing. Somebody's asking me to go out. There's this family event, social hour. Very strict diets just don't work, right? And understanding that it doesn't have to be super complex and actually trying something simple is easier said than done. And I think that that's why there's this crazy, even wacky advice, online about fitness for sure, but especially about diet and eating. There's all this wackiness because people think it has to be complicated and they won't even try anything unless it's complex because it's implanted into your mind that if it's so simple, why is it so hard? Well, or sorry, I kind of said that incorrectly. But they think that if it's simple, it can't work, I guess is what I was trying to say. Simplicity in this can't work. Because so many people are struggling with it. And I think that's why being simple is even more important because we need to get more people on board with eating better, feeling better, exercising more. And by overcomplicating it, less people are gonna try to do it. But for whatever reason, we feel like it has to be super hard, this super huge step, this knowledge that we don't already have is going to be the thing that gets me where I want to go. It could be thinking that it has to be complicated and complex could be a justification for why someone is not successful. And if you're listening to this and that is you, It's okay, right? We all do that. Even myself to this day. If something truly is complicated, excuse me, that is a built-in excuse for why you haven't done it. And I do this to myself also. So I just want to say that it's okay if that is what's happened. But if you're listening to this and you're like, maybe I am doing that. Well, let's take this moment to start moving in the other direction. Let's start moving towards simplicity, away from complication, and get some results, right? And, results are different for everyone. As long as you're moving towards your goal, I would call that a result. And a balanced approach, a simple approach, is usually what's going to get most people moving towards that goal that you have. So, what do I mean by balance? That would be a diet with a variety of single ingredient whole foods. And if you don't know what that means, just think when I eat something, this is the only thing in it. So, for example, an apple. Yeah, now obviously an apple is, comprised of, you know, various organic matter, that makes up that apple. But think about the difference between an apple, right, which is it's a single thing, right? And then you have like an apple pie, which is like apples, added sugar, crust, and then whatever else goes into a pie, right? There's multiple ingredients. You know what I mean? So meat, that is a single item, right? If I have a steak, that's beef. It's a piece of beef versus going to the frozen food aisle where there's like, chicken nuggets, which is a piece of chicken that's breaded, right? And then somehow fried and flash frozen or whatever. But the point is that there's different ingredients that because the chicken is fried and then there's oil and all this stuff, right? Or you just have a piece of chicken or a piece of beef, right? So single ingredient whole food items. And a lot of times it's more simple, it's cheaper, it's easier, right? When you do these things, it does not have to be complicated. And some ways that we can make sure that that happens on a regular basis is to plan out your grocery trips, right? And I will admit too, this is definitely something that, I kind of, over time can start to fall off, but then I have to remind myself, hey, just keep it simple. Denver's really good about this as well, creating a plan for the grocery store. Make it a team effort too. Sometimes that can be really helpful, but have a plan for when you're going to the grocery store. These are the things that I'm going to get, and it's going to last me long enough to where I'm not scrambling and having to go get fast food and things like that, on a regular basis, because that's going to lead us to falling off, right? So create a plan, go to the grocery store, and that doesn't have to be some super complex plan either. Just say, hey, I'm going to eat these things over the next week, and this is what I'm going to get at the grocery store, right? It's very simple. Have your meal prep options. What am I going to have? Am I going to have chicken? Am I going to have beef? Am I going to have fish? Like, pick your protein source, Then what are my carbohydrate sources? Am I going to have? I like rice. I like potatoes. I like sweet potatoes. Potatoes and rice often get this bad rap because they're carbs. Everybody's scared of carbs. But guys, these are single ingredient food items, right? So keep it simple, single ingredient food items, even in your carbohydrates, right? And then, avocado, eggs, right? Pick these things and then start to construct your meals over the week. And if for whatever reason you do have to eat out at some point, just because you have to doesn't mean you have to get the worst thing on the menu. I know it's tempting. I get it. But keep it simple. Have your options of if you need to eat out. Like, I know that if I need to eat out and it's around breakfast time, I know that I can stop by Chick-fil-A to have this little egg white grill. I can get 2 of them and I'm in a good spot. They're like 280 calories each, I think, over 20 grams of protein. So those are good options that I know that I can get. If it's around lunchtime, I know I can go to Salada and just get a salad, or I can even go to any of these like Chipotle, Freebirds, Burritos types of places. I can go there and I can get something that's lean with a lot of protein and low calories, right? I can even tell the person as they're making it, like, hey, less of that, more of that, right? So I know those are good options. I can eat only half of it, save the other half for later, right? These things are possible. Just because you're eating out, doesn't mean that you have to get, the burger and fries or something fried. I know it's tempting, and when you're there, it can be hard, but just stay on track. Try to get as, simple of an order as possible, and you can keep moving in the right direction. And just remember too that when you're eating better, you're going to feel better. And that should be a major motivation. You only get out of your body what you put in it. So stay mindful of the things that you're eating when you eat them. And speaking of mindfulness, this is something that sounds kind of, I call it the hippie stuff, but I will admit that when I first lost weight, and even today, this stuff is still important to me, but something I haven't done this in a long time, but something I used to do when I was in like my weight loss phase, I would, before I ate, take 30 seconds. And 30 seconds doesn't seem like long, but when you're hungry and there's food in front of you, and I'm telling you to wait 30 seconds and just process in your mind, what am I eating? Why am I eating it? And what is it doing for my body? It's going to feel like a long time, and you're going to feel kind of weird about it. And that's okay. But the point is that you're just asking yourself, what is this food doing for me? Why am I consuming it? Is it the right thing? In that 30-second process, you're going to have to fight your hunger for a few seconds. So you're going to prove to yourself that you don't just have to devour everything. You're also going to understand what this food does for you, right? Am I getting protein here? Am I getting carbohydrates? Is this food fueling my body? Is it good for me or is it bad for me? Take 30 seconds to do that before you eat with the food right in front of you. Sounds kind of weird, but I guarantee you it will heighten your mindfulness and your awareness of the food that you're eating, and it does make a big difference. And that'll help you build a positive relationship with food. If you have a negative relationship with food, this can be very complicated. And I'll even recommend, talk to a professional. I'm not a therapist. This is not my area of expertise, but having that relationship with food is very important. Food can often be an easy fallback, something that it makes us feel good. Like, let's be honest, and that's okay. But feel good because it's good for us. That you feel good because you're fueling your body properly. To move forward in life and get to the goals that you have. But if you had this negative relationship with food, I would highly encourage starting with, that little tip that I just gave you, like, asking yourself what you're eating, why you're eating it, what is it doing for my body? And then beyond that, yeah, for sure, if you need to talk to a professional about your relationship with food because you just can't get it under control, I think that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about that. Sometimes we have to give in to ourselves and where we're at in life, right? So talk to somebody, improve that relationship with food, because I promise that um, your success will be easier to achieve if you have a positive relationship with food. And something that can really help with that again, I don't really do this much anymore. I'm in I'm further along in my journey maybe than you are if you're listening to this. Um, for recipe ideas, I would often cook things that I really like at restaurants. Like if I have a dish that I really like at a particular restaurant, take a Saturday evening, go to the grocery store, get the ingredients for that thing, look up a recipe, get the ingredients, and cook some of your favorite dishes from restaurants at home in a healthier way. And maybe that can help you build a positive relationship with food. You can enjoy the experience of cooking it and of having it in a healthy way. Will it taste exactly the same? Probably not, but it can still be really good, right? And something that's important to understand, I think, is that if you never would have had it that other way and you just had it this way that you cooked it for the first time, you'd probably think it's really delicious, right? Because you've never had that thing before. But because you've had it in this other unhealthy processed way with added oils, added sugars and stuff like that, obviously that stuff is hyper palatable, and that's what keeps you eating it and keeps you craving it. So getting away from that can be tough, but enjoying the process of cooking your own food is important, and having a dish that you really like when someone else makes it for you and serves it to you. can be really fun and help to improve that relationship with food. And then you just feel better, and life is better when you feel better. I personally have a very sensitive stomach. There's many items that make my stomach hurt even to this day. Not as severe as what I was telling you about earlier when I was a teenager and kind of first getting started. Um, but I know that when those times come, my mood is affected. The people around me are affected. And I hate that. And when I know that that's going on, then I feel bad. And it's just this spiral down, right? But when you feel good, you bring an energy. You bring an energy to the room, you bring energy to the people around you, and you can be their motivation to start moving in the right direction themselves. The most important thing is that we feel good about ourselves, about our life, about where we're going, about the impact we're having on the people around us. And I know that those couple of statements that I just made are rarely associated with food, but it matters. Because when you put good things into your body, you get good things out of your body. And you will be a good influence for the people around you. You will feel better. You'll be in a better mood. And you will move towards your goals faster. Everything will get better when you feel better. You'll also look better. People like that, right? When you look good, you feel good. So don't forget about that part. So just know this is possible for anyone. Keep it simple. It is a myth that this journey has to be complicated and complex. If you're listening to information and at the end of it, you're confused and they offer you a product to cure that confusion, it's likely that person is trying to take advantage of you. So be very careful on the internet. Complicated things are there to confuse you. So you have to buy a product to solve that false confusion. Don't be that person. Keep it simple. You can do all of these things on your own, but if you need a little bit of extra help, we're here to help as well. Okay, my name is Philip. We are personal trainers, right? We're not therapists, but if you need to see someone about your relationship with food, definitely do that. When you're ready to take on the exercise piece of the equation, come see us. We're here to help. If you have questions, feel free to shoot us a message on any platform. If you want to come by the gym, you can just hop on our website. It's otgfitness.com. Fill out the little form. Send us a message, either myself or Denver. We'll probably give you a call and discuss to see what we can do to help you out. And guys, like the video. Please subscribe. It means a lot to us. If there's particular topics that you'd like to hear about, hear my experience about, leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.